James Madison said, besides the advantage of being armed, which the Americans possess over the people of almost every other nation, the existence of subordinate governments to which the people are attached and by which the militia officers are appointed forms a barrier against the enterprises of ambition. So what you're seeing from Taylor Lorenz is the corporate version of enterprise of ambition. She is ambitious. So you've got many people who want to be journalists and they want to be successful and they want to be prominent. They want to be respected. They want to get awards. That ambition is used by the government. In this context, he was talking about more legislation and authoritarianism and all of that. It's the same thing in corporations. So the Second Amendment is to defend us from that. And the First Amendment is to defend us from the Taylor Lorenzes and the Washington Posts. And we should be able to go and listen and hear anybody in the town square. It is the same thing. So we are fighting a fifth generational civil war, and the First Amendment is the same thing as a 2A is in a hot kinetic conflict. Taylor Lorenz shared on June 2nd her takeaway from who won this big celebrity trial that everyone was talking about, everybody was into, the Depp-Heard trial. So it's over now. And in the aftermath, Taylor Lorenz is talking about who won the trial. On its face, that seems like a good discussion to have. Like who, just opinion. They use the word analysis, which is a funny way of saying opinion. The talking head just on paper. So Taylor Lorenz is the face of corporate angst. She is the voice of the corporations, and she is noting here that influencers online discovered where the money and clout was. That's what she's pointing out in this article. So she's looking at it. This is a big aftermath. There's a big cultural battle that matters. Some people even think this signifies the end of the Me Too movement. I don't know. I really don't know if that's true or not. I do know the Me Too movement is unconstitutional if you usurp due process. You cannot believe blanketly anyone on anything without due process. That's unconstitutional, and it's a lack of morals. But obviously you should hear everybody out no matter what the situation is. But if you say anything about, well, believe this person no matter what, obviously that makes no sense. People are not turning to the corporate press to get coverage from this. They're going to random people in their basement. So she has a first paragraph here. The verdict came down. Thousands of online influencers scrambled to respond. Twitch streamers, YouTubers, Instagram, TikTokers. And it's almost like, what's your point? So the whole article, she just goes through and says the trial offered a glimpse into our future media ecosystem. It's already here. What Taylor Lorenz is describing here, I have felt myself. So she is taking some truth here, but she doesn't have the takeaway that I would have. But what I'm referring to with me is I had just a feeling or opinion about the Will Smith slap. I really don't get into stuff I don't have an opinion on because I'll just be too boring. I wouldn't even be passionate about even some of the stuff I'm passionate about. It's hard to, I've got to, excited up. But my point is I did have a take on the Will Smith slap right when it happened. Before you know it, the camera shows Will Smith walking on stage. And at that point, I'm thinking it's staged because he's right there. There's no security or anything. And Chris Rock was like, oh no. And I was like, okay, this is going to be staged. And then the next thing I know, Binkum's I thought it was a punch, but if Will had punched him, I don't think Chris Rock would have been able to take it that hard. A break. Yeah, Binkum's. Binkum's, Christian, if you didn't know, Binkum's, that was the sound like when Will was just like, Binkum's? That's what it kind of sounded like to me. So the same night when the Will Smith slap happened, I went live. And the whole topic on the live was the Will Smith slap. It's out of character, not kind of out of character for the channel and more political. Something happened that I've never seen happen before. I got in a live that was an hour and 17 minutes. I got barely any views after this live was over. So I had about 22,000 people on a live in about an hour. So I'm doing the live stream and I can see like how many people are live. I'm not expecting anyone because I didn't promote it or anything. It's not really with the channel type of stuff. It was just on Will Smith. So it was late at night. I was probably in my pajamas. Seriously. All of a sudden, 22,000. So I'm looking at the live stream and I'm seeing 1,000 people in there. I'm like, is that a mistake? And so you got more super chats, you got more views, whatever. It's not a huge amount of money. What my point is, that is the algorithm. They put it somewhere, obviously, for people to see it because that's not normal. I, at most, usually have 100 people at one time at most. So my takeaway is more the algorithm. They're telling you what we will promote from you. You want to talk about Russia, Ukraine? No, we ain't helping you on that. I'm grateful for any views. I'm not worried about that. But you see the point. We ain't helping you. Probably hurting you. I don't know that for sure. But you talk about Will Smith and the slap on the night that it happens, bing, you hit the jackpot, at least for, the algorithm. We will reward you. And that is them training you. That is them editorializing. This is an editorial decision. That's them making an editorial decision to boost you. And then what's going to happen? Well, obviously, I'm not talking about CC or Biden or whatever. You might jump all in on Will Smith. Shoot, I got that happened, worked. So let me keep talking about it. And let me keep talking about Amber Heard. So that's my takeaway. It's them controlling us to say this is an okay topic to talk about. And we'll reward you. We'll throw you a little bone if you just keep it over here. It makes me want to not keep it over there even more. Even that's stupid financially, but that's not the point. The point is to get out what I'm passionate about. But that's what I mean by swimming upstream. Now, to me, this article, the point of this article is to put pressure on social media to derank everything. So if you talk about Hillary Clinton, depending on your channel, you could just automatically get deranked. Even a big influencer with over 1 million followers, Jeremy from the Quartering, chatted, and I asked him on Twitter and he replied, so he confirmed this, that if you put Amber Heard in the title of the video, at least for him, it was automatically demonetized. Now that's, basically almost all of my videos start out demonetized, and then I'll challenge them, and then it takes a day or two, and then they remonetize them. But by then, there's no, my videos aren't replaying where you're going to get a lot of views after a day. So that's the kind of games that are being played. And the Washington Post, Jeff Bezos, because Jeff Bezos wants to be able to control things. This isn't just about Depp-Heard. This is about, Jeff Bezos has investments in other electric vehicle companies, for example, not Tesla. The Tesla online community is very strong. So I think Jeff Bezos would be perfectly happy if everything, not just politics, everything was demonetized, deranked through the algorithm, except for what they call trusted sources. This is again coming full circle to seeing why Elon Musk is investing in Twitter. Because if he doesn't have a media product, somebody else could demonetize the people that talk about his product. And it goes with every single topic from Russia, Ukraine. That's the politics. That's obvious. But when it comes to this, it's like she didn't come out and say it. And that's why I tweeted, of course, she's not going to respond. I said, what's the point of what's the thesis? You're writing an analysis, and I don't hear a thesis from this. In here, she talks about, of course, you can't have a conversation like this without the word misinformation. This is what Taylor says here, and this is probably the closest thing that she came to a thesis in the article on.
Nearly every large breaking news event in the past year has birthed a new crop of online influencers. As the coronavirus began its deadly spread across the country, people turned to large health-focused influencers to make sense of it, often falling for dangerous misinformation. When Russia invaded Ukraine, war pages proliferated, with their creators earning thousands by selling merchandise and posting OnlyFans ads. And as waves of anti-LGBTQ legislation flourished in recent months, popular LGBTQ streamers and TikTokers received major boosts in attention.
So she's bringing up misinformation in regards to the pandemic. Then she's talking about Russia invading Ukraine, that was a political, propaganda war in and of itself through governments, big governments, through Russia propaganda, Ukraine propaganda, which is a really all American propaganda. So her takeaway is stop this stuff, because this is where she brought it in. Notice she didn't talk about misinformation specifically with this trial. She talked about people being pro-Depp, pro-Heard. My take is I'm staying out of it because I don't like the he said, she said, and it's just ugly, and it's not. My takeaway is I don't believe anybody on face value. And if you tell me to believe all of anybody in any situation, then there's something wrong in your approach to life, because that's not how life should work. That's why it's a basic discussion in the Constitution. They took these things from religious beliefs. She mentioned that umbrella guy in the article.
So that certain Aquaman starlet got wrecked in the courtroom yesterday. You could see it written all over their expression. They had no idea that this decision, it could ever be possible. And just minutes after that came in, they decided to post this on Instagram. Now, you and I, we're going to break this down too. Why? Because it mentions UK 2020. It tries to pretend that that's some end-all be-all, and it never, ever was. We're going to talk about the weaponization of identity as well. Plus, we're going to talk about what lawmakers are trying to do right now to ensure that this trial, it never happens again. They're doing it in conjunction with the mainstream media. Like I said, this wasn't the end of everything with a decision. It just starts a new chapter. And this new chapter, oh man, it is definitely going to be fun times.
And you wonder why people don't trust her, and her post is getting ratioed to hell, of course, because people don't like it. That's why YouTube had to take away the up and down vote button, because people are voicing their opinion, God forbid. But Taylor Lorenz said that she reached out to him. And that umbrella guy said the Washington Post lied. They didn't reach out to me. He said, I looked at my email, I looked at my text. So he noted it on Twitter at 8:31 p.m. on June 2nd. He was like, wait a second, looks like they said they speculated about me, and they said I made about $80,000 last month based on this website. And he said, I'd like to see proof that the Washington Post reached out for me for comment. Because Taylor Lorenz put it in the article. It's right here that she said that she reached out for comment. That umbrella guy did not respond to requests to comment. He was like, I didn't see anybody reach out to me. So then after he tweeted that at 9:44 p.m., she said, hi there, I'm a reporter reaching out. And then she went to the article and changed the article and removed the part about her reaching out and did not note that anywhere. Obviously, there's no such thing as journalistic ethics anymore, but that's what we get. And it's a perfect example of why people don't trust the media. Somebody quote tweeted this and said, it's weird how the media never, so she did this post about people going to YouTube and all these other places for the information, and she never asked the question why, because she knows the answer to why, and she is the face of corporate angst. So the answer to that question is the corporations are controlling what people are saying, and nobody trusts them. But she is a face of that corporation, so she would never go against it. I actually will end with this. I'm bringing up the Federalist Papers. Good morning, everybody. You know, for the longest time, I thought the Federalist Papers were just boring. And I'm just in such a different place. I don't even watch sports. I don't even know what's going on with the NBA and all that. I think it's the Boston Celtics versus Warriors in the finals. I don't even know when the first game is. But the Federalist Papers are amazing. This one is Federalist number 46. And if you don't know, the Federalist Papers were a series of articles and essays. The founding fathers, well, it was Alexander Hamilton, James Madison, and John Jay. They wrote in leading up to the ratification of the Constitution. They wanted to kind of promote it. It was like kind of their campaign. You know how you drop a movie and you do a little campaign before it? Believe it or not, this was their campaign. And he talked about ambition. James Madison said, besides the advantage of being armed, which the Americans possess over the people of almost every other nation, the existence of subordinate governments to which the people are attached and by which the militia officers are appointed forms a barrier against the enterprises of ambition. So what you're seeing from Taylor Lorenz is the corporate version of enterprise of ambition. She is ambitious. So you've got many people who want to be journalists and they want to be successful and they want to be prominent. They want to be respected. They want to get awards. That ambition is used by the government. In this context, he was talking about more legislation and authoritarianism and all of that. It's the same thing in corporations. So the Second Amendment is to defend us from that. And the First Amendment is to defend us from the Taylor Lorenzes and the Washington Posts. And we should be able to go and listen and hear anybody in the town square. It is the same thing. So we are fighting a fifth generational civil war. And the First Amendment is the same thing as a 2A is in a hot kinetic conflict. That's how important it is. And that's what Taylor Lorenz represents. And we have to fight to keep that First Amendment right, or we will get trampled over. Let me know what you think. Take care.